but she's negative, so, you know.
Well, my brother, who had it, months ago, keeps saying that now he's getting a lot of colds, which he never used to get before.
Really?
You know, he's attributing everything to
Okay,
it.
we are recording.
Okay, I call the regular council meeting of September 20th, 2022 to order at 7:33 p.m. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sorry, Dave.
City Clerk, if you could please read the statement regarding the Open Public Meetings Act.
This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. Revised notice of this meeting was included in a notice sent to the record and advertised in said newspapers on May 29, 2022, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and has remained continuously posted as the required notices under the statute. A copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Proper notice having been given, the municipal clerk is directed to include the statement in the minutes of this meeting.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Cobb?
Yeah.
Councilman Hamer?
Here.
Councilwoman Marin?
Here.
Council President Rosenzweig?
Here.
Councilman Cohen is running late and should be arriving at some time during the evening. Also present is Mayor Michael Wiles, City Manager Robert S. Hoffman, City Attorney Bill Bailey. CFO Michael Kaufman and City Engineer Franz Volsi are absent with prior notice.
Okay, can I have a resolution to approve the minutes of March 2nd, 2021? This is Resolution 232. Second, roll call, please.
Councilman Kopp?
Yes.
Councilman Hamer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Marin?
Yes.
Council President Rosenzweig?
Yes. Okay, if the city clerk would please read the title of Ordinance 22-12, which is here for second reading.
This is Ordinance 22-12, ordinance canceling $2,966,506 in unfunded balances from various bond ordinances previously adopted by the City of Englewood in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey.
So the public hearing on this ordinance is now open. So anyone who desires to be heard or ask questions about this ordinance will be heard at this time. Okay, so we will close the public session on Ordinance 22-12. Do I have a motion for this ordinance to be adopted?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Cobb?
Yes.
Councilman Hamer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Marin?
Yes.
Council President Rosenzweig?
Yes. So that passes. We now have the second reading and public hearing regarding Ordinance 22-14. Can you please read the title?
This is an ordinance establishing contract salaries and benefits for Teamsters Local 11 IBT inspectors for the years 2021, 2022, and 2023.
Okay, I now declare the public hearing on this ordinance open. Anyone who desires to be heard or ask questions concerning this ordinance will be heard at this time. Okay, so we'll close the public hearing for this ordinance. Is there a motion for Ordinance 22-14 to be adopted?
So moved.
I second it. Roll call, please.
Councilman Kopp?
Yes.
Councilman Hamer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Maren?
Yes.
Council President Rosenzweig?
Yes, so that ordinance passes. Okay, so we have some ordinances for first reading. Ordinance 22-16. If the city clerk would read this, please.
This is an ordinance amending Chapter 191 fee schedule of the Code of the City of Englewood, Section 191-12, Recreation Facilities and Programs.
So this is first reading. It'll be published once by title only in the record, and we'll have the public hearing on October 19th. So that's, I think, about 4 weeks from tonight, yeah. Some of the dates are changing because of some holidays. Is there a motion for this ordinance to pass?
Point of...
For first reading? Yeah.
I have a question. I thought we tabled this at the last meeting. We didn't table it. We were talking about looking for other sources of funding so that we could retain the current schedule.
Yes, please, Mr. Hoffman.
Thank you, Council President. Councilwoman Maren is partially correct. The council is going to be has directed that we look for other funds, but this ordinance is being introduced for 3 specific reasons. One of them is because and all relate to the hockey season starting in October. So the council was unanimous in its desire to increase the rental for non-residents to rent the rink because of the increased cost of energy. So that's why that's in this ordinance. And then the rec department purchased bumper boats or bumper cars, and they're really cool. I invite everybody to try that. But we can't charge a fee for the rental of them unless we have an ordinance. So that's why this is being introduced just with these 3 items, and then we're going to be looking at the other parts of the ordinance as was directed by the City Council last meeting.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So is there a motion to...
Mr. Bailey, can we separate that? Because I think these are 3 different things, and I don't recall we said we're going to put them all in one ordinance. You know, the charging of the bumper cars and all that. I didn't, because if I remembered it correctly, we talked about hiring, Zamboni driver.
Right.
We talked about the other fees that were associated with the recreation department. I don't remember and I've seen those bumper cars already, so I don't remember that. We've had 4 already for about a year, and we were going to add 4 more, and I understand that we got those through a grant.
Yeah, I don't know the details in terms of the finances, but you can amend a portion of the ordinance and subsequently amend other sections if you like.
Yeah, but
Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Hoffman, but this is just amending those 3 sections?
That is correct. It's only the 3 items that are in red in the agenda. And again, this was done. We are not able to charge a fee for the bumper cars, and we can't increase the fee for the rink rental for non-residents unless this is introduced, so that we can get it in time for when the rink opens in October. So. But it's the council's decision, whatever the council would like to do.
So
As what's
Yeah.
on the table, pardon me, doesn't affect the fees currently in place. It's just these 3 items that just don't have a line item for them because they're new services. So I know we had discussion about not increasing other fees to keep costs down for the residents. And I think this proposed ordinance just includes those 3 items.
even though...
Yes, and just as a point of order, two out of the three are new. We were, there has not been the authority to charge a fee for the bumper cars before, so that's why it's in here now.
Yep, I have no problem going along with that. I'm just concerned because there's nothing in writing that specifies that. The way it's written, that's why I misunderstood it.
Okay. That's why the only changes that are to the ordinance are in red.
Okay.
Yeah, so this ordinance just has the only changes would be non-resident ice rink fee and the two new programs.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Bumper
it's,
cars, yes.
so we can...
Okay.
Question.
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Mr. City Manager Chair,
My apologies.
I have no issue with introduction of the ordinance, but I do want to have specificity on the items we discussed before this comes up for, a passage, the final vote, the second vote. So perhaps we can get, some detail on how it's being divided and amended, and circulated as soon as possible so that we can take action on it for the second vote.
Okay. Sure.
Okay, so do I have a motion?
Let me ask you something. Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Did you see the back page here? So, what is that as well?
This was the backup that had been provided from our recreation director. This was part of what was handed out at the last meeting. And this just shows that the only items that were being brought up tonight were these three items. So this was basically the cross-check for the city
Are these
council.
items attached to the agenda that's out there on the floor? Is this page attached to the agendas that are out there on the floor?
Oh, no, it's, it
No,
was...
I'm saying, is this page attached to the agendas on the floor?
Right, I just checked with our city clerk, and the answer was no.
No? Okay. We don't want the residents to think something else, some other stuff that's here, that we're not highlighted on this other page.
Yeah, so if you can please explain?
So just so everybody's aware, copies of ordinances are not provided to the public until after the council votes to introduce them. Until then, they're considered draft. So once they're introduced, the following day, they're posted on the city's website and on the bulletin board in City Hall. And then at the following meeting where they're supposed to be adopted, a copy of the ordinance will be provided to the public in the packet for that meeting. So right now, there is no copy of the ordinance in the packet because that's just not our normal procedure.
I have another question. How do we determine the prices on these things? Is there a formula or is there something? How do we determine the prices, Mr. Hoppy?
Well, for the three items that are being considered for introduction tonight, it was at the recommendation of our recreation director.
So,
And there was, and then I think for the, it was at the recommendation of our rec director, and then I did a proof of the, what the potential increase would be.
so when we get the backup, as Councilman Hamer asked for, can we have how we arrived at these? Can we have, what formula we use? How do we set the pricing on this?
I do have my backup sheets, but they're at the office. I did not.
No, I'm saying when we get the additional information that Councilman Hamer, can that be included in that?
Yes, absolutely.
And so I know some people from the public have some comments or questions about this. The official public hearing on this will be October 19th, and that's when it's open for the public, just like we did a few minutes ago with the second readings. But of course, at the end of the meeting, when we have the public session, anyone's, free to discuss any issue that they want, and that would certainly be an appropriate time to bring up any concerns or questions or comments about this ordinance. But the official discussion about this ordinance will be at the October 19th meeting. So, do I have a motion for this ordinance to pass on first reading?
So moved.
I second. Roll call, please.
Councilman Cobb.
Yes.
Councilman Hamer.
Yes.
Councilwoman Maren.
Yes.
Council President Rosenzweig.
Yes. Okay, so now we'll move to first reading of ordinance 22-17. An ordinance, do you want to say it?
Sure. This is an ordinance amending Chapter 25, Section 25-18, parking prohibited at all times, Schedule 10 of the Traffic and Parking Ordinance of the Code of the City of Englewood.
Bob, do you just want to give a word about this, the parking ordinance?
Certainly. This is one of those that I would classify as a cleanup ordinance. There seemed to have been an inadvertent parking sign. There's a travel lane that the parking is in, so if the governing body recalls, there was a diagram that was presented last week. It's also in as the backup here, so it's just to make sure that there's no parking in that travel lane.
Okay. All right, do I have a motion for this ordinance to pass on first reading and be published once by title only in the record, and a public hearing to be held on October 19th?
So moved.
I second it. Any discussion by the council? Okay, roll call, please.
Councilman Cobb.
Yes.
Councilman Hamer.
Yes.
Councilwoman Maren.
Yes.
Council President Rosenzweig.
Yes. Okay, so now we move to the consent agenda, which is resolutions 233 through 240. So this is the time we asked if the public would like to comment on any of these resolutions. Again, 233 to 240. You're invited to come up to the microphone and address these agenda items.
Yeah, Ricardo Wilby, Englewood, New Jersey. You said 233 to 240?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Who's going to be the housing liaison, and what exactly is their job?
Mr. Hoffman, if you...
Yes, this is a requirement for affordable housing through the state. Our previous liaison was the retired tax collector, Claire Pasota. The recommended housing liaison for the city would be our new tax assessor, Patrick. So this has to do with calculations and other items, so that's why he's being recommended.
Okay, well, I've had a lot of conversation with numerous and various elected officials. That word affordable housing doesn't do anything for low-income black and brown families. Affordable housing can be considered one of these monstrosities that you're building right now to push black people out. Some people can afford $2,500 a month. We can't. We're talking about low-income housing. Last night I had a call from a lady that was pushed out during Ida that still can't move back in, and she applied for a federal program that actually paid her landlord. So you still have a lot of the victims of Ida, and this liaison should know the difference between affordable housing versus low-income housing. Okay, once upon a time, Englewood had a surplus of low-income and affordable housing. Now we don't. They've came through the back door and built things that nobody other than people that don't look like me could afford. All right, so your liaison needs to understand this, all right?
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right, so we'll close the public session right now. Is there a motion to approve resolutions 233 through 240?
So moved.
Question?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this should be a second before I ask the question.
Okay, are you seconding?
I am not.
I'll second it, and any
Question.
questions that you have.
Okay. Resolution 233, when we discussed this at the last meeting, I asked about the cost relative to this resolution. I'm not opposed to opposing increases in fees and costs, but what I do want to find out is more information about, whether or not the costs are going to be, put on the employees in a different way. So I'd like to separate this resolution for a vote until that information. Now, you can vote on it, but I'm not in favor of it, and I certainly would rather separate it than vote no on the entire consent agenda.
Okay, so we'll separate out 233. Is there anything else that anyone on the council would prefer to get separated out? All right, so let's vote on 234.
Can I,
Yeah,
234, can Mr. Hoffman talk to the public about that?
please do.
Thank you, yes. 234 is a resolution requesting that a contract be awarded to a company that will come, called Detail Associates, that will come in and help oversee the remediation for leaks that occurred in the basement of City Hall back in October. This company will make sure that the containment fields are up. They will be doing air sampling. They will be making sure that the work is done in accordance with the DEP standards for air and for other things. So it's to help us make sure that, number one, our employees and our residents are safe when the work is being done. Number two, that it's being done in accordance with state and federal rules. And number three, they are a resource for the city if we find other things that have to be remediated. So that's what this contract is for.
Are we gonna have somebody come do the work outside of them? Are they we're gonna have to approve?
Yes, if I heard the question correctly, there's going to be there will be another company that's coming in to do the work. We had a bid opening last week, and the engineer and I will be going through the bid responses and then coming back with a recommendation to the city council at a later date. But this company will be in place to assist the city.
All right.
Question?
Yeah, please go ahead.
I'm sorry?
Please go ahead.
Mr. Hoffman, I see that their fee is capped at $1,250. Just wondered,
No.
or is that incorrect?
No, their fee is not,
It's phase one.
for some of the, that's just for phase one. That's to review permits and pre-construction meetings.
Okay. What, is there a total that we're going to be paying them potentially that we shouldn't exceed?
Yeah. The answer is, I don't know the answer to that question. The engineer and I will be talking with them about a future not to exceed, but we have to review the bids first for the other companies.
Oh, no, I'm not talking for the remediation work. I'm saying just for this contract with this company to come in. They're just helping us set up the remediation work, or they're going to begin the remediation.
No, they're going to be doing the testing when the remediation is there. They're going to be doing the air testing. They're going to be doing other things for that. So they will be doing surface samples. They'll be doing air samples and things of that nature. So if you look, there's a cost per sample that's in their proposal. So
So the $1,250 refers to what?
that refers to the pre-construction meeting and to making sure that the permits that are needed from the state, the federal government, and the city are valid.
So the most that we'll expend with them is some figure yet to be determined?
That is correct, because it's going to be based on the number of air samples and surface samples that are required. The air samples are $75 per sample, and then the surface samples are $45 per sample.
I'd be much more comfortable if we could come up with a not-to-exceed number.
Sure.
And not just propose a...
Yep. If it's the pleasure of the city council, we can hold this till the next meeting, and we can attempt to obtain a not-to-exceed number.
I'm not sure how anyone else feels about it. I'm just, talking about myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful, because they could run the bill up on us and then we're paying it. So you and Franz can decide, what's a cap, 10,000, 20,000, whatever it is, instead of just giving them a back open end and then they run with it.
Yep.
They say, oh, we did 1,000 samples and then we have a problem.
All right. Yeah, if we can hold this, and the samples have to be approved by the engineer, but you know what, it's better to have all of the information, all of the questions answered.
Yeah.
So that'd be
Yeah.
fine. So we appreciate the council's thoroughness in asking good questions.
No,
Would tabling this impact what you need to do?
No.
okay, as long as it doesn't impact what you're doing, then that's fine.
All right, so we'll table 233 and 234 to the next meeting. And then, so if we have a motion to approve 235 through 240. Have a roll call, please?
I'm sorry, this was a motion to,
235.
Approve resolutions 235 through 240. We'll hold off on 233 and 234 till the October 4th meeting. Is that the next one?
Bill, will that require it to be tabled?
234 would be held until the next meeting.
Yeah, is there a motion to table 233 and 234?
Okay, so let's do it that way. Thanks for the proper procedure.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so this is a roll call on tabling 233 and 234 to the next meeting.
Well, no.
Yancy, if you can call the roll.
I don't think I like this mic here. Councilman Kopp,
Yes.
Councilman Hamer,
Yes.
Councilwoman Maren,
Yes.
Council President Rosenzweig.
Yes. Okay,
Probably a new motion.
so do I have
Yeah,
a new,
just-
a motion for consent agenda items 235 through 240?
So moved.
Second. All right, so now can we have a roll call on 235 through 240?
Councilman Kopp,
Yes.
Councilman Hamer,
Yes.
Councilwoman Maren,
Yes.
Council President Rosenzweig.
Yes, thank you. All right, we move on to bills and claims. So if we could have a motion and a second, and then we can discuss it, if there are any questions on it.
So moved.
So I seconded. Are there any questions on bills and claims by the council?
Question.
Yeah, please.
There's an issue with regard to classification of some of the items on the bills and claims list. And I've spoken to Mr. Hoffman about it, and, just like you hear back from him at some point, over the next few weeks before our next meeting, relative to, taking a different approach to how we classify some of our expenses.
All right, can we have a roll call, please?
Councilman Kopp?
Yes.
Councilman Hamer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Maren?
Yes.
Council President Rosenzweig?
Yes. So that passes. So, Mr. Hoffman, you had some items for discussion?
Yes, thank you, Council President. The items under discussion are related. We have under discussion the CSX Railroad and the Jones Road over Route 4 Bridge Replacement Project. As the council may recall, and some of our residents also, that in May, CSX closed Forest Avenue because of a collapsed culvert. CSX does not appear to want to fix the collapsed culvert, which is in their right-of-way. The county has approached them. The city has had conversations with them in the past, but the culvert is collapsing further. The culvert takes water from the city's stormwater system, as well as from some of the county's stormwater systems. Because the culvert is blocked, the water cannot continue south along the tracks and then bleed off into other tributaries as they're supposed to do. The culvert must be fixed because, number one, it is helping to cause backups in our stormwater system, which can cause flooding in the future, but also it is impeding traffic, it's impeding the response time for our emergency services, our police, our fire, the ambulance corps. I had a conversation with representatives from Inglewood Hospital. Their paramedics are also being impacted by this. So this culvert needs to be repaired and fixed. We're talking about a 2-day job at the most. It is also impacting 2 other projects. The state has announced and sent the council or sent the city information last Thursday that the long talked about Jones Road over Route 4 bridge replacement project is going to start sometime in October. So now you will have traffic being diverted off of Route 4 into the city of Inglewood as well as into Leonia, but we need to get this Forest Avenue open before the state starts the Route 4 project, because we have to have arteries for cars to pass through. We can't have gridlock. The culvert also must be opened so that the county can replace the bridge on Forest Avenue 2 blocks to the west. That has been closed because truck traffic was going over it and has caused the bridge to be structurally unsound. So our discussion tonight is to alert our residents to the state project, which could take up to 3 years according to the state, but I'm not sure. The city just received the traffic detour plan from the state, which does feed traffic into our city. But at the end of the day, it all starts with replacing that darn culvert. We need to get that road, Forest Avenue, opened east and westbound across the railroad tracks. So,
Comment?
yes.
Mr. Hoffman, why don't we just blink? This is a contest that we can't win with CSX. They aren't going to back down. There's very little that we can do to force them to do what's right, but it's imperative that we get that culvert fixed. And you said it's a two-day job. We're not going to win waiting them out.
Thank you, Chris.
We should just proceed with having that repair work done so that the county can do what it needs to do at William Street and move this along. All of the things you mentioned and others are, problems that we've got to deal with, and the longer we wait, the more they present themselves.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%, Councilman Hamer. The issue that is at hand is that the county has offered to do the work. The city is also willing to do the work if CSX doesn't step up. CSX has said that they will arrest people that try and do the work on the right-of-way. We need to get we need to get permission to go on the right-of-way so that we can do the work. And that's the real issue, is don't be ridiculous and threaten to arrest us. Just let's work out an agreement so that we can get this done. But
I think we should proceed and, get the work done and deal with the legal side of it, while that's going on. But I think we need to get that taken care of. There are way too many other things that we need to worry about and fight through, but
Yeah.
that shouldn't be one of them.
okay.
Bill, I know you have a lot of experience on railroad issues. Can you just give some of the legal issues that are challenging to us?
Yeah, I don't want to get too into the merits because this whole thing could very likely lead to litigation. Railroads have certain privileges that others do not. They are archaic in many instances. However, perhaps in conjunction with the county, possibly the DEP and also DOT, getting those government agencies, including ourselves, involved in, forcing the issue may be the way to go. I could give more detail in closed session, but yeah, they've been thumbing their nose at the city for years on multiple issues, as they have in other municipalities.
Dr. Rosenzweig?
There are hurdles, don't get me wrong, but
I'm pleased to report to the governing body that I spoke to the county executive, and he personally told me that they would join us in any venture to accelerate this and move forward. Obviously, our words are being memorialized this evening. I called every state legislature, every senator. I called both of our United States senators, our congressman, and our coming congressman in January. I spoke to as many of their representatives as possible. And the truth is, it's arrogant, it's obnoxious, it's wrong, and it's flooding the Fourth Ward. And quite honestly, it's a two-day job. They're like this apparently throughout the nation. It's unfair, but they will use law enforcement to stop us. So we have no right to physically take action without due course and process.
I have a question, just so we can, what is their rationale for doing nothing and for blocking us for doing something?
They don't care.
No, but there has to be, you have to give a reason if they're going.
They don't give reasons, Judith. They just don't care. They have this federal conglomerate, this independent authority, they're independent law enforcement and everything, and they'll get to it when they get to it. And it's a direct line where water is going. You have to see it. I went with the city manager last week, and it's further deteriorated since then. Water just goes out of there and gushes all over the Fourth Ward.
I know we have to do it.
Yeah, and, I'd ask Bill to comment just that, not about the merits of this case, but it's, these 150-year-old railroad laws are really a brick wall for us. So it's going to take a lot of pressure to knock it down. CSX is, as of tonight, a $63 billion market cap, so they're a very, very big publicly traded corporation. If it's any consolation, it's probably gone down 10 billion over the past month, but whatever. So it's not like, calling up, a local shop or a local mom and pop store and asking them to work with us. So this has been the frustration that Mr. Watkins had before Mr. Hoffman, and Mr. Hoffman inherited since the collapse.
So, Mr. Hoffman, what do you suggest that Councilman Hamer, who's the 4th Ward councilman, tells the people who are being inconvenienced, who own homes in that area, what they'll do. You know, should they take action against the city for the city not representing their interests?
The city is representing their interests.
But they're not acting.
We are trying to get action. We should talk about some of this in closed session, but soon there will be a meeting. I'm not sure if it's been firmed up yet with the county as the lead, but we need to figure out a way to make the repairs to the culvert as soon as possible. And we need to be able to do that so that we are not stopped when we attempt to do it.
Yeah, but has anybody communicated with the residents, the homeowners that are in that circumference that are impacted by that?
I'm not sure.
All right, sorry, please, this is a council discussion. Okay, yeah.
I don't think anyone would object, but I'd like to reach out to county council tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Joe.
Just assuming there's no objection to follow up the mayor's discussions with the county executive, I'd like to reach out to county council tomorrow, my legal counterpart, to start coordinating a plan of action.
He's waiting for our lead, but again, with all transparency, to avoid litigation, any kind of law enforcement, this conversation is now going public. As far as notification to the residents there, we should do whatever we can to bring on public pressure as well.
I think it's best that we continue the conversation in closed session, you know, for legal reasons, but we absolutely need to take action. So, unless there's something else.
No.
All right, and you want to talk, I know you mentioned it slightly with this, but do you want to talk further about the Jones Road?
The Jones Road, as I had mentioned just a little earlier, the state has notified us that they want to begin the construction work, or they want to begin the preparation work on October 7th. We're not exactly sure what that means. We've reached out to them, but that is going to have an impact on the traffic in Inglewood, because there will be a detour so that people can get off Route 4, circle around the project, and then go back on. But our police department was able to get a copy of the traffic detour plan, and now they're analyzing it. But this was put together by the state police and by other state agencies, and we were not privy to it until probably yesterday.
Okay, thank you.
Question.
Yeah, please.
Mr. Hoffman, when this was proposed by DOT, they were going to come back and have a community meeting or a public meeting to discuss what is going to be done and create a timeline and, you know, just to answer the concerns that residents are certainly going to have. Is that part of what's supposed to take place? I know you may not know, but I'm sort of letting you know what took place in the past, so that part of the expectation and the way that we manage the expectation, our own expectations, including residents, is that if they are going to start October 7th, it could be that they are coming back to have whatever that public meeting is, so that they can roll out their plan and discuss how it changed or is still the same, and, you know, what that alternative traffic flow looks like. So perhaps, you know, someone can reach out to them and, you know, determine if those things are still taking place, and if not, why.
Okay, we will do that.
It also would be a good time to mention to them that they're a partner in what we need to have done on Forest Avenue. So perhaps when they are presenting a detour plan, which likely will include Forest Avenue, which is closed. So, you know, if that's part of where they're detouring traffic, then they've got extra incentive to help us fix what needs to be fixed so that they can do what they're wishing to do.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Hoffman, also, Forest Avenue is already a problem. The light is a very quick light at Forest and Dean. So if they're gonna make that a detour route, they're gonna have to change that signal and extend it, because it is a fast signal there. And Mr. Volsi is well aware of that. That was something that he was gonna be working on. And what that would create is a backup onto Grand Avenue, and then you would have just a total mess there.
It's close to being a total mess now.
Yeah,
but
that's
this is going to
correct.
exacerbate things.
Yes,
That's correct. That's why I'm bringing that up right now.
all right, thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
They weren't gonna have,
Thank you.
I don't think they were gonna have a public meeting with us, but we'll check.
All right. So thank you, Mr. Hoffman.
Thank you.
So now we move to communications from the governing body and city manager, Mayor Wiles.
Thank you. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of our former mayor, Frank Tuttle, and his wife, Valerie. Thank you both for joining us, as well as all the residents that are in the well and watching this on YouTube. As far as some major events and matters coming through, the most important, I thought, which was very productive, was the Army Corps of Engineer that we hosted last week. My notes I did on my weekly rendition in the Zoom session, Coffee with the Mayor, and you should feel free to watch it. It was last Friday. But in summary, they've agreed to look at a technical assistance program, as they believe we have the capacity to do the work and can get involved in floodplain management services. The OMB looks favorably to help others help themselves, and the plan would be for them to help us do modeling, design, permitting, data collection, and Franz, our city engineer, will look to them for the retaining wall. We went to several locations and ultimately learned that the most important thing is the capability and the hydraulics. We were also very lucky that the DEP was present and gave us very specific instructions, which our city manager acted on immediately the following business day, as far as moving of debris, modeling for areas throughout all the culverts in our city, particularly in the ShopRite area, and dealing with other towns, perhaps a regional follow-up with neighboring mayors and engineers to make sure that we have new floodplain ordinances which are stricter, written with FEMA and other things to make sure that the city has greater control. The summary, in substance, climate control is a true thing. They're not looking at 100-year storms, they're looking at 500-year lines. The intensity, the volume of water is something that we're going to have to deal with. We inherit it from other parts of our community, and we have to make sure that we act appropriately and judiciously. I want to thank our congressman for setting it up at my request, and also the city manager, the city public works director, engineer, and everybody else. I'm happy to meet with and explain the notes and work on the follow-up as necessary. We have a meet and greet with the new city manager slated for Wednesday, September 28th from 5:30 to 7:30 at the Englewood Public Library. Many wonderful people working to tackle food insecurity. Starting this Wednesday, there's drive-through, walk-up hot meal distribution to be held every Wednesday at 5:30 at Cecil, located at 228 Grand Avenue. Thank you to Bergen Family Center, Feeding the Frontline, and lots of other wonderful groups, including our Englewood's Recreation, the Community Chest, Volunteers of Englewood, Women's Rights Information Center. Volunteers are needed to help deliver meals to our neighbors who are in need in surrounding areas as well. There will be the Bergen County Sheriff's Office is conducting the 27th Citizens Police Academy class. The registration is open through Thursday, September 29, for a 10-week course designed to give residents a working knowledge of law enforcement policies and tactics. Bergen County residents 18 and older are eligible to participate. I would like to extend my condolences to the dear family of the young man that was felled in the last 10 days. Again, our hands are tied as far as being able to participate in any comments on any investigation, but no doubt, loss of life and the safety of our officers are values that we both hold dear. There is an energy assistance program as we approach cooler weather in the fall and winter. Applications are open for the low-income home energy assistance program. Early applicants can receive aid for their heating. Medically required cooling costs if gross household income is at or below 60% of the state's median income. And finally, with CSX, I don't think we should stand down. I don't think we should be fearful of arrest or process. The city should be prepared to issue daily summonses retroactive to May 2nd, even holding media events, get the whole in community, and embarrass the hell out of this group that should be ashamed of themselves for allowing this thing to happen. So as far as I'm concerned, we can meet as much as we want, but if we have to explain ourselves with Mother Nature testing our mettle through a pandemic, through all kinds of other challenges, and artificial ones like the winds of war that have collateral financial consequences on our community, they can go to hell. Thank you.
Mr. Cobb?
Good evening. I'd like to thank everybody who's come out. What I want to just say that I want to thank Congressman Pasquarello for sending the Army Corps here. It was a year ago that he and I walked down West Street and got to the corner of West Street and Slocum Avenue, and he made that suggestion, so he followed up on his suggestion, so it's a good thing, and I want to thank him personally for that. Next, I want to recognize Community Baptist Church, their 90th anniversary. As I understand, it's tomorrow, and this church has been a beacon in this community, as well as many other churches have, and other religious institutions. But tomorrow is their day, and they have been very active. They were active with the pandemic, feeding people, and continue to help people out. This summer, July and August, they had gas card giveaways, and they continue to give back to the community. I have two points that I want to make here, and one is City of Englewood should focus, their priority, I believe, should be on the infrastructure, and all this building and everything else should be stopped until we can support the buildings that we have. We can't even support the infrastructure that we have. So we need to repair that and be focused on that. And I think that that's where we need to put our energy. And number two is public safety in the City of Englewood. Mr. Hoffman, I'm asking you and Chief Greeley to come and stand in front of this community and talk about the things that you would like to do. Mr. Greeley has been promoted to chief. You know, I think it's a time that he addresses the community and tells them what his goals and objectives are, what he's looking to do. A lot of people have concerns, and I think we need to address those concerns. I think that we need to be more transparent than what we are today, but transparent enough to give people, to address their issues and their concerns. The one thing we don't want to have people is feeling not safe in their community. There are a rash of activities that are going on that need to be addressed. So I think it's time. That's a relationship you have to have with the community. So it's time to work on that relationship, build that relationship, and it's time for us to hold people accountable with those relationships. The residents and the taxpayers of the City of Englewood, they pay the bills here. So we need to get them what they deserve, and whatever services there are. So I think it would be a good thing if maybe each department head comes and addresses the community in terms of what they want to do, what they're saying, and what their plans are, along with you and having a plan. I think that would go a long way to building better relationships, but also understanding the concerns that residents have and how we can address them or we can't address them. You know, but at least they know that they had an opportunity and they heard what people are saying. And the last thing is that Forest Avenue thing. We need to do whatever we can with that. I just think that it's a safety issue, I understand that, and I'm not going to say no more until we go into closed session, but I think that we need to do that. But we also need to keep those people who are impacted by that directly in there informed about what we need to do. If they have any, even if they just have any issues or concern, that they can call your office and speak to you about them, and you can talk to them individually. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Marin?
I'd like to also offer my condolences to the family of the young man. I had seen our police department in action where they were able to very successfully diffuse a very dangerous situation that happened to occur in the 3rd Ward that didn't get any publicity. So I know the capability of this police department, and I have great faith in Thomas Greeley. I think he understands exactly what's going on here, and I am looking forward to what my fellow councilperson has suggested, having him talk to the city so they hear what I've heard. Most of the phone calls that I've received since our last council meeting have been about the possibility of additional housing in the 3rd Ward on 2 lots, which are each zoned 1 family. I believe it's being, this council turned down a suggestion from our planning board that these particular properties be reformed as a redevelopment zone. So that was turned down, and the developers have now gone to the Board of Adjustment. And I strongly urge any of you that are opposed to the project that's being proposed, which is a significant number of housing units on these 2 lots, to follow the Board of Adjustment. It was not heard at the last session. It will be heard in the future, and it's got to be watched carefully. And I know most of my neighbors have expressed disdain for this concept. However, they don't come forward and speak publicly, and that's a major problem. I'd like to wish Happy New Year to those people that will be celebrating it very soon. And of course, I am totally, I agree with everything that's been said about this railroad. I think it's despicable, and I hope we'll all work together on this. But I know we're going to be talking about this in closed session, and I have a lot of free afternoons, so if we have to bring a crowd to the site, I'm available. Thank you.
Mr. Hamer?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending. Just have a few points that I want to raise. First of which is there was a funeral this earlier today for Bernard, and I think the pronunciation is Lassy. But as soon as the information is available from the Attorney General, I need for us to be as transparent and as forthcoming as possible. And we need to, and perhaps we can have the meeting that Mr. Cobb suggested with Chief Greeley and Mr. Hoffman, our city manager, to talk through that, and let that be the first of many meetings, because the more we build relationships, the greater the chance that things like that might not happen. What I'm referring to is what happened to the young man a couple of weekends ago. The second thing is we do need to, as soon as possible, tee up the discussions around Liberty School, Russell C. Major School, and the RFP that is sort of waiting in the wings. And I know that's going to come soon, and I know a lot of you are waiting to hear it. We need to engage and take action. The next thing is there was a town hall on cannabis, and it was a public meeting. It wasn't our town hall. The council didn't do it, but it needs to be followed up on. There are all aspects of this discussion need to be heard, and we need to decide what the next steps are going to be, and what we're going to do as a city. Fourth, COVID, we can't wish it away. You know, we've got to take action and make it go away. So these masks do make a difference, and you know, I hope more of you will continue to wear them, or continue to wear them. Don't stop. You know, it's not over with, and you know, the only way it goes away is if we take action and do what we're supposed to do. The fifth thing is there's a young lady named Amy Dillon who turned 90 years old on Sunday the 18th, and her church had a huge celebration for her. Just want to take a moment and wish Ms. Dillon a very happy birthday. The last thing is next month, you know, in observance of you know, mental health awareness, the Municipal Alliance is bringing Daryl Strawberry to Inglewood, and he's going to have a discussion, and I encourage as many people as possible to get the information and attend. We've got to do what we can to remove the stigma of mental health, and you know, talking about it might help with care, or provide the provision of care for friends and loved ones. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Again, I share the sentiments of the mayor and council, and wishing my condolences to the family of Bernard Plessy Jr., and this was a tragedy for all involved. Again, I'd like to thank Congressman Pascrell and really for Mayor Wilds to continuing the dialogue with the congressman to get Army Corps of Engineers here. Mayor deserves a lot of credit for that, because it's not easy to get them here, and that led to DEP coming here, which led to cleaning up of overpack. So cleaning up overpack is going to help a lot with flooding, but it's not going to be the only thing that works. As I said at the two council meetings ago, we don't have a switch somewhere in the city that says flooding and no flooding, and we forgot to flip it to no flooding. There's going to be dozens, if not hundreds, of small projects, some bigger than others, to mitigate the flooding issue. Cleaning up Overpeck Creek is a major one of them, but there's going to be issues with land use. We have a stormwater ordinance that's going to be coming that's going to have a positive impact as well. You know, it's going to deal with individual properties, protecting our properties, a lot of small changes that's going to add up to help mitigate the problem. So it's not just one action by the council or one cleanup that's going to do it. This is a major step. And again, thank you to all involved. But it's going to be a lot of work to get this done. You know, this is a problem, and you know, the environmental changes are a problem. Decades in the making, and it's going to take, you know, a little time to adjust to that as well. You know, tomorrow's actually the last day of summer, so I wish everyone a happy fall starting on Thursday, and I wish everyone who's celebrating a happy and a healthy New Year starting next week. And I do know we have some Englewood residents of English descent, and my you know, so I know they, I wouldn't say condolences, that doesn't really make sense, but, you know, I know they experienced a loss in their queen probably for their entire lives. So definitely a memorial for Queen Elizabeth II, who was a great friend of this nation as well. So thank you very much. And Mr. Hoffman?
Thank you, Council President. There are several things I'd like to report on. To follow up what has been said by the mayor and by the council president, as well as a few other members of our council, on Monday, September 12th, the city's DPW staff began removing obstructions from the Overpeck Creek. and this was the result of guidance that was provided to us from the DEP, who came to that meeting that we had on Friday afternoon, September 9th, where the Army Corps of Engineers showed up. But because we were able to show pictures to the DEP, and then we were able to go out on site, we were given specific guidance that in the past, I guess in the past, other members of the DEP, because they did not make a field visit, they had a different interpretation. So I want to thank the two DEP representatives that came, because the term obstruction, or the word obstruction in the DEP's parlance, means anything that is impeding the flow of water. So the silt and the grass and the other debris that was in the stream, we are able to remove now, and we started doing that. As you can see, there's been 3/4 of a block that's been removed, and significant amounts of material, truckloads of material, have been brought out. Which leads me to the second point, that the city's new Bobcat excavator with the 19-foot reach was used to remove the obstruction. So this was something that had been brought up, and I was told about the excavator with the grappling hook on it, and I just didn't realize that it was made by Bobcat. So we're using that, and we're using it to good effect. Also, FEMA has confirmed that they're going to reimburse the city on behalf of the Inglewood Housing Authority. They're going to reimburse the city $1,805,472. So that will be a pass-through from the city to the Inglewood Housing Authority, and we've been in contact with the auditors just to make sure we will be able to do it properly when the time comes. I'm bringing this up because it is good news, but also the New Jersey Office of Emergency Management praised Domingo Sonata of the Housing Authority for his excellent record keeping, and they said in the email that without his good record keeping, the reimbursement would not be at the level that it is now. So we need to give kudos to Domingo in the Housing Authority for that. Also, we're in the middle of our 2022 road paving program. So there are 11 streets that we're milling and paving. There's 5 streets that are under reconstruction, and then we're also looking to squeeze out some additional tonnage so we can finish up Demorest Avenue between Knickerbocker to Tenafly, and then William Street from Forest to Inglewood Avenue. But the updated list will be posted on our website tomorrow, and then put out on Facebook. But those are items that are underway right now. Also, the DPW will be sending out a letter to residents who have requested trees, and the fall planting season will begin in October, so they'll be planting trees in October, November, and part of December. So if you've requested a tree, you'll be getting a letter, and there'll be additional details in that letter about care for the trees and just assistance that's being asked for. Also, the state has replaced the homestead benefit with a new program called the Anchor Program. And the Anchor Program expands the amount of property tax relief that's available, and it extends the eligibility to additional homeowners and renters. So this is something that was just released. Information is going to be available on the city's website. The state is going to be sending out a mailer about this to people that had applied for the 2018 homestead rebate, but there's also information that will be posted on the state's website. So we will have that, but we also have flyers that'll be available in City Hall and will be posted on bulletin boards around the city. FEMA has also confirmed that they will reimburse the city for the cost of removing debris and obstruction from the Overpeck Creek as well as from other locations, and this is going to be a reimbursement that's in the 7-figure range. And we will be bringing forward a proposal from an engineer so that we can make sure that we conform with the FEMA and the DEP regulations. Around Labor Day, the city began we had to remove a significant amount of graffiti from the parking garage that we have. And there was, the graffiti was both graphic in nature and just poor. And then it was removed on the Saturday of Labor Day weekend, and then some of the graffiti has reappeared. And I want to make the request and the plea that stop it. That let's treat the property that we have kindly. Let's make sure that it's a good representation of our city. Let's make sure that when a mom and her child get into an elevator, they're not looking at stuff that is that's totally inappropriate. So please help us. Please take pride in our city buildings, our city resources. Help keep them clean, and if you see something, please report it to us. And lastly, I'd like to thank the members of the City Council for taking the time out of their busy schedules to meet with me over the past several weeks. I appreciate the thoughtful and constructive conversations that we've had, and it's been very helpful in making my first several weeks here in Inglewood productive, and I want to thank them for that. And that is my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, City Manager Hoffman. So we'll now open the meeting to the public, and also I'd like to acknowledge Assemblywoman Huddle and Mayor Huddle here, and invite you to and thank you for coming.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Council President, members, council members, Bill Yancey, and welcome to our city manager. You know, I come here, Valerie Huddle, sorry, 485 Highview Road, Englewood. Sorry about that. I come here tonight about a public safety issue. I heard all of you tonight speak about public safety, and I know as members of the governing body, you are here to protect the residents of Englewood. As a former assembly member, I wrote a letter several times to the mayor and council and the former administrator about the safety issue and the hazardous roadway in front of 30 Van Brunt, North Van Brunt. I believe you're familiar with 30 North Van Brunt. It's a few feet away from City Hall. It's in front of the Bergen Pack Theater. Several years ago, there were a couple of accidents, and just last year, a girlfriend of mine got hit by a car as she crossed the CSX railroad tracks to get to the theater. There's a restaurant there, as you know. There's a nail salon there. There's retail businesses there. There is no crosswalk. There is not a speed bump. There is no acknowledgement of how anyone can cross safely from the parking lot across the CSX tracks to the theater. So I come before you tonight on behalf of the 1,300 patrons that go to Bergen Performing Arts Center. There is no way they can cross safely. I sent letters, and I just have to say, I did not get one response as an assembly member, so I do feel really sorry for the residents. Imagine an assembly member never got a response. With that being said, I came here tonight because I was in front of the theater, and I saw someone almost get hit by a car. I said to my husband, this is it. You know, you talked about CSX as a multi-million-dollar industry and the challenges to get through and get results. I would assume that this budget is probably close to $60 million. As a resident, I can't get an answer. On behalf of the 1,300 patrons, we can't get public safety in front of a theater. I would paint the lines myself. I don't know how much it would cost to paint lines or even put up a stop sign, anything. But the role of this government to protect the citizens crossing that crosswalk, and I have been complaining for a long time. Again, I don't know what your budget is, but I'm sure you can find some small amount in your budget to try to resolve this public safety issue. And I'm telling you, there is going to be a fatality sooner than later. So I'll calm down because I just saw something that I was pretty upset with. But I implore you, and I really shouldn't have to come here and beg. I should get a little respect from the public service that I have done in the past. And to get no response to me is disrespect. So that's why I came here live, so maybe you could think about it and respond.
Thank you.
Dr. Rosenzweig, I didn't receive any communication.
Yeah,
And it's my practice to respond to every communication, particularly if it's written and particularly if it would be from a former or a current elected official. So if you would at least let us know where you sent it and send it again and memorialize
I sent it
it.
to the mayor and the council.
I didn't get it.
In a letter, in a mail letter, and in an email.
I didn't get it,
If you don't
Valerie.
check your emails or your mail,
I check my
then
emails
then I have nothing
hourly.
else to say. And
Valerie,
it's
I
not the
need the
first
writing.
time I sent it.
I would like the writing. I would like to figure out when you sent it, how you sent it, why I didn't get it, or anybody else who didn't
All right,
get
so
it.
if no one got it, I came here to speak live, so hopefully my
No,
comments
no,
are
the
taken
comments are
seriously.
heart-taking, and I appreciate it as well.
All
I'm
right,
sure I
my
speak for
comments are for the
everybody.
record. Thank you.
Yeah, no, and we appreciate the comments, but I also would like to find out if this is an experience that you have. I can well imagine other people.
No, people
if it's
have told
happening
me
as
it is
well.
very hard to cross that street. As a legislator, pedestrians come first. Everyone is supposed to stop as soon as you enter that street. Van Brunt is a raceway. You either have to go to the corner by Palisades or the corner down by ShopRite to cross. There is no way people are crossing on both corners when you're going to a theater from the parking lot. I ask just for lines, anything for the good of the public safety.
I
That's
think,
all I ask.
I
Thank you.
appreciate that you came personally. Again, I was talking about the communication. Please get us a copy, or at least let us know when you
Well,
sent the email, who did. I
We know
didn't
now,
receive it.
yeah, so,
Michael, it doesn't matter, I'm talking to you now. Done.
Okay, thank you.
you.
okay. Mayor Hurdle, please come.
So which one of these works, since they never did? Hello?
Yes.
Retired
You're on
mayor-
mute? No, I'm
What?
kidding. You're on mute? No, I'm kidding, like, is every Zoom meeting, yeah.
That's okay. Been there, done that. Former mayor, retired mayor Frank Huddle, a resident. I came here for something else, but listening to the discussion of the council and as an attorney, I have specific experience with CSX, and so does Mr. Bailey. There was a pothole on North Van Brunt, Palisades Avenue, that CSX, after extended period of time, refused to fix. As mayor, questioning whatever authority I had, I made a decision. We patched it. And if they wanted to arrest us, I said, arrest me. So CSX does not comply. So with that, I believe, and I don't believe much of the discussion on CSX should be in closed session. The public has a right to know. But I would suggest that this is a legal matter, not, how bad it is or who they are. There should be an immediate order to show cause. There should be arguing public safety on an emergent basis. If they refuse to comply or we don't get a favorable ruling in the court, then we proceed to fix it and reserve all our rights to collect the funds. This matter should be handled by whatever law firm handles these matters, but it should be done aggressively. I don't like hearing the talk, because the talk doesn't work. My apologies. Council President, just to clarify, the railroads are probably over 200 years old, but CSX came to being in the 1980s. And you are correct that when they acquired, I think it was Conrail, they got congressional powers that are sometimes, Mr. Bailey would say, seem to be above the law, but they're not. Public safety is not. They don't have any right to go above public safety. So that's what I would argue. Something very simple. When Councilman Hamer was council president, the city adopted a resolution for a plaque a bronze plaque that was purchased and paid for by the city for Councilman Jack Drayford. I tried repeatedly to have that plaque put up. The plaque sat in City Hall. It's dollars that have been spent. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's hung somewhere, but I urge this council to respect the former dean of this council and find out where that plaque is, because we did spend the money. Finally, I came here actually for Bergen Pack. I asked for, I won't use the word investigation, but everyone should, or the city engineer should go look at North Woodland. As mayor, I paved a lot of streets with the city council, and we had a major improvement. And we got a lot done on paving streets. But North Woodland can't be more than 6, 7, 8 years old. How do we spend millions of dollars on a road that already is falling apart? So before the city council signs any additional contracts for paving, I urge a careful specification, investigation, so we don't waste money. Sorry I brought all these topics up, but CSX is litigation, not having a conversation. And I deplore every action on an emergent basis take place. Now, with respect to Bergen Pack, as mayor, with all due respect to Mayor Wiles, the former mayor, Frank Huddle, also made calls. Nothing was done. So, and Valerie's pretty strong on what she says, and it's pretty important. Now, with that, on a brighter subject, Council President, the mayor, there's a lot going on at Bergen Performing Arts Center. It's over a $10 million investment for the community. And I ask, pick up the phone and come over and see what we're doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah,
We had about 2 minutes tonight. Yeah, Ricardo Willoughby, Englewood, New Jersey, 289 Shepherd. First and foremost, I want to thank Mr. Hoffman. What is being suggested, he already has done. He's been to the 4th Ward. He stood out on Wise Corner. He talked to each and every business owner and showed that he has at least the will to materialize that his intentions are righteous to help the people of the 4th Ward. I've never seen a city manager come on the ground, and I know Charles Cobb, he does this all the time. He's talking on the 4th Ward to people, right, on the sidewalk. But Mr. Hoffman came, and he spoke to everybody, and he showed real intentions of fixing the problems, and I have to commend him, because I haven't seen a city manager do that in a very long time. Secondly, I want to talk about the CSX. Civil disobedience is definitely in line. I mean, you Democrats passed the bail reform, we could get locked up, we'll get out, no bail anyway, who cares? I want to talk about the young brother that died, 22 years old, shot by the police. Wayne Hamer talks about his condolences. You, sir, are the 4th Ward councilman currently. You should have been there with the family. This young man lives blocks away from your house, and I've not seen your face, not one time. My condolences to Merlene and her twin sister Miriam and the entire Placide and Lucere family for what they're going through. These people are Haitian and Jamaican, and in Haiti they say, sac passe. That's Creole for what's happening. The mayor thought it would be a good idea to hire people from out of town that weren't familiar with the community. You understand? It's very important, especially in black communities, that police officers interact and know and understand the community that they serve. Now, I want to read some quick statistics real quick about the number of police shootings. And I passed out Bernard's program to all of the council members today. Michael Cohen isn't here. He's stuck in traffic someplace trying to make it from New York. But needless to say, this is something that affects every mother, every father, every son, every uncle, black, white, yellow, brown, and everything in between. So 2017, the police shot and killed 458 whites, 222 blacks, 180 Hispanics. All the way down to 22, where it's 127 whites, 71 blacks, and 28 Hispanics. And the explanation that I have historically for the number of white folks that are assassinated by the police, but nobody hears about it, is that white supremacy has a responsibility to minimize the violence of white people. So you don't see the broadcasting, like this weekend, there was Model Town USA with the Philip Pinnell issue. Even today, we have people like Ken Rosenzweig talking about people of English descent. My ancestors are of English descent. We were English slaves. We were owned by the English. The English colonized most of the world. South Africa, Palestine, Jamaica, Australia. They've literally exterminated people to where those people don't even exist anymore. So you don't cry for your Nazis, and I won't cry for mine. Have a good night.
Thank you.
I'm sorry I missed a lot of the meeting, but I'm here mostly because of Dean Street.
What is your name, sir?
William Satterfield. First of all, has anyone been down to the railroad tracks where the bridge on Forest Avenue collapsed or about to collapse? You have?
Mm-hmm.
So you saw the bottles, you walked down the track?
Yeah.
Anyways, you saw where the water supposedly goes under the brook. If you look on both sides, there's a actual drain on both sides of the railroad tracks. One is completely shut down. The other one goes down along the road towards the annex, towards Jackson Street. You saw all of that? Well, I grew up on that street. I grew up at those tracks. And those tracks used to be 3 or 4 times deeper than that, those brooks. Now, are you familiar with the fact that the railroad company filled in the brooks with stone recently?
Yeah.
On this right-hand side, where they're keeping all those railroad tankers now.
Yeah. There's 4, it looks like there was 4 loads of stone that was dumped 4 different times.
But they closed the brook. Now, the water that comes off the hill, that's the lowest part of town, is where most of that water goes. The water from Dean Street goes under Dean Street to that brook. If that brook is clogged up, and I don't know where this other creek you're talking about, what's the Overpeck Creek? What is that? Is that the brook in McKay Park? That's the brook in McKay Park. And you call that the what? Overpeck what? Creek? I've asked for 10 years or longer. There used to be, the Wrights used to live next door to me. Almost the whole family worked for DPW. They used to actually have a little machine they put in the brook, lower it down. He would take that machine and put the dirt on the top, and they would continue to keep the brook clean. But those little things mean the biggest thing as far as Dean Street, where I live, being flooded. Plus, I hear you say something about the dirt or whatever. We don't sweep the streets. Not one of the streets regularly gets swept. Other towns I know, and I know for a fact, Hackensack sweeps every street, every week, all year long. That eliminates a lot of dirt, a lot of trash, a lot of bottles. Second, all the grates. A grate should be on, I don't even know if that's the right name, but on all of the drains, there should be a grate on there. Now, I've called DPW for years now at 245 Dean Street. One of the only drains near my house that's working has a grate in it, but it's at the bottom of the drain. They've come to clean it out a little bit, but they've never taken the grate out and replaced it. But all over town, to me, you have to have those grates, especially up top. Now, here's something people don't know who don't really live in town. When it rains real heavy, especially, major storm, it appears at first that the water is being absorbed by the drain. A big problem is we have huge drains, but they're not working. So when they get full right away, especially the ones on the hill, the water comes out the drain and comes down the street. On a heavy rain, you'll see water coming down all the streets. It cannot absorb all that water. But if the water were going in the drains where it belongs, you'd get rid of a lot of it. And if they cleaned out the brooks on the railroad tracks, you'd get rid of a lot of it. And then if you dredge, and look, if you go on Route 4, go to any entrance to all the highways, you have really big drains with and I don't know what people do, why they think it's a good place to throw trash out the window, but it obviously happens all the time. and we need to either address it by, I don't know, either cleaning it or whatever, but the highway is one of the worst places. But the whole area needs drain cleaning and drain protection.
Thank you.
No, I'm not finished. Listen, other towns do this. School year, we should see a heavy police. We have a lot of lunatics out here, especially around our elementary schools. And the police should get used, especially cops who don't live in town, get used to getting out their car, how you doing, talk to the people, that the kids get used to them, send it, especially at an early age. A lot of our teenagers already are jaded by police, but at the early age, kids should get the idea that cops are friendly and they're here to protect you. But they should be around all the schools. They should be in and out, you should see them, they should be frequent. And I don't know why we can't get police on Palisade Avenue. Walking. Other towns even have them walking at night, checking doors, but I think that's what killed the retail. Police, this town has a reputation outside of this town of being a dangerous place. I gotta tell you, I just have to admit it, that's what it is. If you want people to come here, use our retail, you want the retail side to come here, you have to make the town seem safer. The parking lot over here, I mean, who uses it, I don't know. I see so many police, city and police vehicles, but I think a lot of that has to be readjusted. For instance, the bank on Dean Street, the newest bank on the other side of Demarest Avenue. That parking lot, the furthest one down by IHOP, the hedges in front of that parking lot should be eliminated so you can make plain sight of it. Those hedges could be moved down to the park, what's the park downtown?
Depot Square.
Yeah,
Depot Square, behind all those benches, plus Depot Square needs some evergreen. It needs something to make it look different parts of the year. But getting rid of that park, making that parking lot for employees and freeing up the parking lot in front of the theater or behind those stores on Dean Street, I think would make a big improvement. Because people would feel closer to the retail and they feel safer. But the biggest thing is to get cops walking the street all over. I mean, you shouldn't be unusual for you to come out your house and see 2 guys or 3 or 4 ladies walking the street. And it doesn't have to happen all the time, but it shouldn't be an unusual thing. I mean, that's part of it. I see a lot of other people.
Oh, yeah, so please, William, usually we keep the comments pretty short here to 2 minutes. We've been a little bit loose tonight, but there are a lot of other people who'd like to speak, so if you'd give them an opportunity now.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you very much, William.
It's a good idea about the council. Very good.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Kevin Wilson, Palisade Avenue, Inglewood, New Jersey. Mayor, council, welcome our new city manager to Inglewood. I come to you guys in concern. We're in 2022. We're pretty smart here at the council, the city manager, the lawyers, and what I can't figure out, being a resident of the 4th Ward, is why it's taking so long to figure out this flooding situation. I understand what you're saying about the railroads, but I'm a lifelong resident here, and there were a lot of things done early on that prevented this. First of all, we didn't have in jeopardy the impervious grounding because we didn't have all the concrete in the new buildings. So the new buildings, the water's not able to be absorbed into the earth. We had the drudging of Miller's Pond and all the arteries. Now, as a retired first responder, I would be ashamed to tell someone that we couldn't get to you because we can't cross certain arteries in Inglewood, and we'd have to take extra measures to get around. As you would know, if you have 2 clogged arteries, you're going in for emergency surgery. I don't see us going into emergency surgery. Maybe because you don't live in that particular area and it doesn't affect you. You can take a phone call, say we'll look into it and hang up. You don't have to smell mildew in your area. It's beyond me how we have all these brainiacs here and I don't say that lightly, that we can't figure out a way at this juncture to help the Fourth Ward. I would think we'd be a little further along the line, whether we were in a lawsuit, whether we were doing more dredging. I understand we have new equipment and the new ponds that are being dredged out, that's good. But as you know, as we're deteriorating and we're getting more and more storms, we have to be prepared. Let's stay ready so we don't have to get ready. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is James Evans, 341 Washington Place. And I concur with the two gentlemen here. I'm a lifelong resident of Englewood, and some of the stuff I see is disgusting. I came here before COVID, and I asked the board, what are you gonna do about the brooks? What are you gonna do about it? Well, the first story was, we're gonna go down by Route 8 and clean that creek out. Well, I haven't seen a truck go in and clean the sewers, and I can't tell when. I don't even think they even know how to clean the sewers. I was watching the other day on William Street, the job they was doing, and I don't know when you're gonna get finished with it. You got stuff under the bridge there. How you gonna get under there? Well, let me tell you, I've been around this town a long time. I used to work in construction. I used to help dredge these areas over there by Route 80, down along from Route 4 all the way down to Inglewood Avenue. And the things it was the county that did this. I don't know what's going on, but it is really a shame. I remember down by Sheffield Avenue, they used to have something like a drawer where if it was too much water coming through Englewood, they would lift it up. I don't even think that was done this year. And it's pretty sad, really sad. And the other thing, I got a problem. I got quite a few problems. I've been coaching here since 1994, me and that gentleman there. We've been coaching junior football. Volunteering. We don't get paid. And the thing is, now we have problems, we can't go on the grass. What's with that? We've been practicing on the grass, rain, sleet, or snow. Now all of a sudden, you're not allowed to go on the grass. What is with that?
What field?
Tryon Field. They don't want us on the field. We tried to get a game in McKay Park. Mr. Duza submitted application. We thought we were going to get it. They told us, it's unsafe to be out there. I don't know what's going on with the DPW, because all you had to do is go out there and put in some dirt, fill in the spots. I know this town like the back of my hand almost, and I know the things. My father worked for the DPW, so I know a lot of things. I've seen a lot of things. It's very bad here. I don't know what's going on. If people are new here, they don't give a crap, but I do. This is my town. I went to school here. So it's no excuse that the things I see that go on here. There's another thing I'm really upset about. Our taxes are always going up. You get money back, I don't know who gets it. But the thing is, I hear you got a lot of lawsuits. I hear that we have to pay off a lot of lawsuits. So if we got to pay off all these lawsuits, why do the people from Englewood has to get their tax raised up for something that's going on that you need to clean up their act? If you're getting sued, then find out why you're getting sued. And if you have to pay off, find out why you gotta pay off. Something, as we say in my community, something in the milk ain't clean.
Thank you.
Good night to the staff of the council board, Mr. Mayor. My name is Jennifer Minot. I live at 82 William Street, apartment B2 in Englewood for 42 years. And tonight my topic is William Street, where I live on, going that way. And I think we do deserve the best. We are all citizens of the United States. I was migrated from Jamaica on May 30th, 2004. And I'm living here. I work very hard, 2 and 3 and 4 jobs. I bring my husband here and my 4 children, and I have children born in this country. Right now, my last son, he has a lungs problem, and I do 3 open heart surgery, and in February, I just got appendicitis. I'm retired. I was working in Inglewood Hospital as PCA, Patient Care Associate, Nursing Assistant, and that is the hardest job. And I do other jobs in different places, but because of my 3 heart surgery, I cannot work anymore. And my husband was a policeman in Jamaica. He came here, work at Inglewood Hospital, do security, do other jobs, because we had to make ends and everything meet together. And tonight I give my due respect to all of you on the board. But what I'm saying tonight, I live right over on that side of William Street, where the property owner, they are not doing their jobs. So I'm asking tonight if we could get the road and William Street down there fixed, like West Englewood Avenue and the top part of William Street. I would like to see if we could get Forest Avenue, Van Burn Street, and all those streets that block off, and we cannot go back and forth with our vehicle. I do drive now, and I have problem because I have to turn my steering. I do not have an automatic new style car now. I have the whole time religion 1, and I drive it, so I can't turn. I have to turn the steering like this. I don't have the money to buy a car now. I wish if somebody give me a car, I would really take it. And what I want to see, those orange cones that hit down those roads and block them.
Please speak into the mic, it's
Those
tough to hear
orange
you.
cones that down there, they remove and the road get fixed. This is not good for the community. And the ambulance, when it comes, the fire truck have problem when they come, because instead of they save a life, somebody get worse. And I think that is very important, #1 priority for the community. And I'm asking you kindly, Mr. Mayor, please, could you get, I don't know how it goes, but could you get the housing inspector to come over where I live and inspect those apartments? I mean, a lady live over there with 5 children. If you see their apartment, how it stays, and people call, people say this, they ask, there is nothing get done. All we hear is, it's COVID time. COVID is the excuse, and that's not right. People can cover with their mouth, use this mask, and do their job. And then again, where we live over that property, there is no handicap parking space over there. So I think the city can enforce that company to put it in on the property. There is elderly people live over there, and they're sick. They are not in senior citizen place living, and they need the handicap parking space. And I really thank Mr. Hammer, Mr. Cobbs, and I forget his name, over by the health department, and Mr. Mayor, you were the first one, helps me to get some masks, and I gave them out to the elderly people where I'm living over there. And the next thing I'm asking for, Mr. Mayor, please, I'm asking you kindly, with due respect, when I call, answer the phone. I called you on the 1st of September, and you didn't answer the phone, you hang it up. And I call again, and I call again, I did not get it. I do not like that, and I want respect because I'm giving respect. And I am a child of God that believe in my Jesus the same way you believe in yours. So we are all one people. We are the one same red blood. We are not different. When we die, we are going under the earth. And we are not carrying nothing at all with us. That's what's in my Bible. Everything we have on earth here is vanity and vexation of spirit. That's what the Bible says. And tonight, I'm asking you kindly, remember when you wanted to vote, and we all vote for you, Mr. Mayor. Remember the people them on William Street. The DP workers, guys, they work very hard. I stay in my bedroom when they come with the truck in the morning, and I see them. And the people that has the property, they are not putting on the paper on their containers. You have recycled, and they're not doing it. And when the guys come, they throw the garbage in it, and the guys who are working at DPW, they have it very hard. It is not easy for them. They have to smell the garbage, and the things are not put in appropriate ways and how they should put. So I think the DPW supervisor need to send a letter to that property manager, let them know that they have to do this and set some example and discipline these people. People must go by order. Everywhere have rules and order and laws, so we should abide by them.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming. So we have some other people who want to speak.
Okay, no problem, thank you. And I
Thank
hope when
you.
I come to another meeting, I get a chance again to finish my statement.
Thank you.
Thank you, have a good night. You're in my prayer.
Thank you.
Dr. Rosenzweig, briefly, the record should reflect that I return every single phone call from Ms. Minot. I didn't get the September 1st phone call, but all of the issues that she has, some of them are legal and private, that we can't, as city officials, engage in. The ones with her landlord, I've made phone calls, and where there were medical procedures and Mrs. Minot preferred to have the cabinets moved to make it more comfortable for her, I want the record to reflect that the owner specifically sent in his handyman to move the cabinets down and accommodate her. So every phone call, everything that needs to be memorialized or worked upon that's a city matter we take seriously, and I appreciate her good citizenship in coming out this evening.
Thank you. No, please, we have another speaker. Please, we have another speaker. Sir.
Andrew Creighton, 16 Brookway Ave, Inglewood, New Jersey, also known as Coach Dooza, like Coach Mr. James Evans said, volunteer coaching now in the Inglewood Junior Football Program for over 30 years. Sent out an email to the city manager and the mayor only 2 weeks ago, and I asked for a reply or response, which I didn't get back, of course. You know, I'm just saying, I'm working very hard out there. I get phone calls all night by parents concerning their kids in the junior football program, because it's a program that's supposed to help kids on and off the field. But right now, we are not getting any kind of support from the city of Inglewood, and I have a lot of parents will be giving y'all phone calls and emails and coming to the next council meeting. So just be prepared. That's all I have to say. Thank you for not responding to my email.
Excuse me.
Yeah, sure.
Excuse me, Coach Dooza did have a request for field usage, and I actually went out looking for additional spots because part of it was for 3 football games, and it's my understanding you needed lights, and then you did receive a phone call while I was out looking. We had suggested that the Little League field could be used. I know, but I just want to make sure that you and I saw each other at the recreation office. You asked for some specific help, and we were looking for locations where you might have been able to play, and then I received a message that I guess there was a field outside of Inglewood that would better serve your needs for those 3 games. So that was the message that was relayed back to me. But
Mr. Hoffman, let me. Okay.
No.
plenty of towns that we deal with, they make sure that their youth program is taken care of, with lights, fields, and everything else. We are the only city that the kids have to actually try to dig up, like you said, when it rains, we can't even go to practice. How do our kids supposed to participate and compete when we can't even practice half the time? This is ridiculous. But we have people that come here and don't say nothing, but our kids still turn up. Because that's what 3 in the NFL is right now. 3 kids that came to our program that's in the NFL. Good. We are very good.
Thank you.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Before you came here, Merle Simon and Franz and I had a discussion regarding using the soccer field in McKay Park because it had lights, to play 3 games on there because they weren't going to be able to use, at that time, they didn't think the stadium would be prepared or ready for this football season. So that was an agreement to use down there. You can confirm that with Merle Simon and Mr. Volsi. That field, that's a soccer field in McKay Park, which has lights on it. And all they had to do was line the field. So, and they could get Pritchard from the high school. They do the lining of the fields for the high school. Just pay them to line the fields. But that was a discussion that was agreed upon. So I don't know what changed since then, but I'm more than willing to participate in the meeting to call everybody to the table and say what happened, because that was agreed upon, everybody understood it, and they were fine with that.
Okay.
And that happened before you arrived here, so you wouldn't know, but I think you get those parties together and have a conversation with them and
All right.
kind of close this loop on this thing.
So please.
Thank you.
Jacqueline Weisner, 211 Cambridge Avenue, and I want to add my voice to some of the issues that were brought up this evening. On a hot Sunday at 12:30 p.m. in front of Plant Shed this August, a friend of mine with an 18-month-old baby was enjoying coffee, and afterwards putting her child into the car seat, was hit in the head from behind by a man that was walking down Palisade Avenue. She clearly was traumatized, and he was caught later, she said. That's one incident. There was another incident where there was a knife fight on Cambridge Avenue just a couple of weeks ago on a weekday. And I speak to a lot of women in the community, and there's a lot of concern about our safety and just what's going on, because what's safer, would you think, than 12:30 p.m. on a Sunday, Palisade Avenue? Well, we can't walk around oblivious to what's going on. So safety is a huge issue among a lot of us. Another thing is, I know this development that's being planned on Ivy Lane, or they're talking about it. And it just seems incredible to me that we haven't spent the money to really mitigate these problems with flooding. I do work as a consultant in public adjusting, and the flooding that's taken place in people's homes, the sewage backups and all those issues. And yet we're thinking of more development that will clog up more of our sewer system, our streets, more traffic. It just seems incredible that we would allow that kind of development, and yet we haven't taken care of the problems that we already know are going to continue. And I was thinking there's probably a way we could utilize the school system. There are different activities we could get kids involved with, rain gardens to help take care of flooding, rain barrels, different things that help them to get involved in their community in a way that I haven't seen done ever. So why not look into getting them involved as a part of what's going on? These are the things I think we need to be focused on. And if we've got the money, then let's start looking at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. All right, so we'll close the public session now. Thank you all. No, sorry, no, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. The public, no, I'm sorry. No, please, no, please send an email to the city manager afterwards. The public session is over. We don't allow people to speak twice.
What time does the public session be over?
It's over.
I'm asking you.
So we have a closed session we have to get to. We don't allow people to speak twice. I'm very sorry. You can send an email to the city manager. So do I have a motion? Bill, will you read the?
Yeah, be it resolved by the governing body of the city of Englewood that it meet in closed session to discuss contract negotiations, personnel matters, potential litigation, matters within the attorney-client privilege, which pursuant to subsection 7 and 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act can be discussed in closed session, and be it further resolved that the discussion conducted in the closed session can be disclosed to the public upon taking final action thereon, provided it does not violate the attorney-client privilege or constitute an undue invasion of privacy. And be it further resolved that the council will return to open session after this meeting and may take action on the introduction of ordinance 22-13 and 2 resolutions relating to the redevelopment plan for ERA South.
All right, do I have a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
I second it. Roll call, please.
Councilman Kopp?
Yes.
Councilman Hamer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Marin?
Yes.
Council President Rosenzweig?
Yes. So we're going into closed session now. We will be coming out to open session to vote on those 3 items regard to ERA South. All right, thank you. So we're going to take a 3-minute break now.
Okay, we are now recording.
Do I have a motion to go back into open session?
So moved.
Second, roll call, please.
Councilman Kopp?
Yes.
Councilman Hamer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Marin?
Yes.
Council President Rosenzweig?
Pass. We are now back in open session. We are now going to do resolution, we're now going to do ordinance 22-13, an ordinance of the city of Englewood, New Jersey, amending the redevelopment plan for the property identified on the city's official tax map as Block 2602, lots 3.01, 3.02, and 3.03, commonly referred to as ERA South. Do I have a motion to pass this ordinance on first reading and be published once by title only in the record, and that a public hearing be held on October 19th?
Yes,
So moved.
there was a motion over here.
Okay,
Council,
yeah,
they asked that it be heard at the next council meeting, which I think is October 4th.
okay, so I'm going to, we're going to change this to a public hearing being held on October 4th,
Third.
October 3rd, 2022, because of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
so do I have a motion on the new ordinance for October 3rd?
Sure. Move.
Okay. I second it. Roll call, please.
Councilman Kopp?
Yes.
Councilman Hamer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Marin?
Yes.
Council President Rosenzweig?
Yes. Okay, now we have Resolution 223, a resolution amending the settlement agreement for the matter of ERA South versus City of Englewood. Do I have a motion to approve?
Yes. So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Kopp?
Yes.
Councilman Hamer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Marin?
Yes.
Council President Rosenzweig?
Yes, and then Resolution 224, a resolution amending the redevelopment agreement by and between the City of Englewood and SHG Englewood South v. Urban Renewal LLC. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please. Councilman Kopp?
Yes.
Councilman Hamer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Marin?
Yes.
Council President Rosenzweig?
Yes. At this time, I'd like to give a 45-minute lecture about the importance of public discourse in city... Oh, okay, yeah. I have a motion to adjourn.
You're out of order.
This whole trial. So, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Councilman Hamer?
Third.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Councilman Kopp?
Yes.
Councilman Hamer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Marin? Councilwoman Marin?
Yes.
Council President Rosenzweig?
Yes. Okay, thank you all. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Good night. Charles, the look you gave me, wow. The look you gave me. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.